As you are reading these words, you are taking part in one of the wonders of the natural world, for you and I belong to a species with a remarkable ability. We can shape events in each other's brains with remarkable precision. I am not referring to telepathy or mind control or the other obsessions of fringe science. Even in the depictions of believers, these are blunt instruments compared to an ability that is uncontroversially present in every one of us. That ability is language. Simply by making noise with our mouths, we can reliably cause precise new combinations of ideas to arise in each other's minds. The ability comes so naturally that we are apt to forget what a miracle it is. Steven Pinker, in The Language Instinct. Language is the most important aspect of human interaction. It is impossible to imagine that the thousands of years of societal and cultural development throughout the world would have or could have occurred without its citizens connecting and communicating linguistically. According to the Atlas of Languages, no languageless community has ever been found. Without communication, civilization as we know it could have stopped at its primitive state, compared to that of other species of animals, never progressing into what it is today. In a 1994 article appearing in Time magazine titled How Man Began, Philip Lieberman, an evolutionist, supported this statement, saying that speech is so essential to our concept of intelligence that its possession is virtually equated with being human. What sets us apart from other animals is the gift of speech. Though we're all accustomed to and don't think twice about the languages that we speak, it's important to look into the development of language, from why humans came to speak and how it spread throughout ancient cultures and into present day. The origin of languages has been a constantly debated evolutionary issue. With such disparities between the communication levels of humans and the communication levels of other animals, the reasons for the evolutionary development of language with humans and not with others has left scientists and researchers scrambling to come up with plausible theories. According to Jean Aitchison, author of the book The Seeds of Speech, the development of language stemmed from other spontaneous events regarding the anatomy of the human brain and body. Because of the shift from a more herbivorous diet to an increasingly meat-like diet around the shift of the Neolithic era, the human brain was better nourished and thus able to grow larger, which in turn changed the positioning and shape of the mouth and vocal tract, allowing a range of coherent sounds to be uttered. But the question at hand is, how did humans go from uttering relatively coherent noises to having tens of thousands of words in their vocabularies? Unfortunately, there is not enough information to fully conclude as to how the first languages started, mainly due to improper documenting, as in on broken rocks or papers that were easily destroyed. The first category of language that is well documented dates back to 2500 BC, or the Bronze Age, and are the Indo-European languages, which are broken up into 10 subcategories. Indo-European languages were historically dominant in Europe, South Asia, Anatolia, and Central Asia. The subcategories under this phylum of languages include Anatolian, Hellenic, Indo-Iranian, Italic, Celtic, Germanic, Armenian, Tocharian, Balto-Slavic, and Albanian languages. In 1500 BC, during the emergence of the Iron Age, Indo-European languages began to develop and spread further as Germanic, Celtic, and Hallstatt cultures emerged in Central Europe. The Celtic languages continued to spread across Central and Western Europe through 500 BC. Soon after, however, the spread of Greek and Latin throughout the Mediterranean and into Central Asia allowed these languages to prosper, while Anatolian languages became extinct and Celtic was marginalized into the British Isles. The Arabic language has a similar history, taking roots in the Mediterranean basin area, especially the Tigris-Euphrates River basin. Arabic spread and emerged quickly. As Arab traders and travelers began to spread Islam along the eastern coast of Africa, as well as western and central Sudan. Sogdian was an ancient language of Central Asia. Centered in Sogdiana, the language was successful mainly because Sogdiana was an important point on the Silk Road. During the Chinese Tang Dynasty, Sogdian was the lingua franca, which is the language used to communicate between persons not sharing a mother tongue, also known as a bridge language. And thus the economic and political importance of the language guaranteed its survival in the first few centuries after the Islamic conquest of Sogdiana in the early 8th century AD. Two of the most successful Indo-European languages were Imperial Aramaic and Sogdian. Imperial Aramaic, a language modeled after the Babylonian Aramaic, which was spoken mostly by educated Persians, was the most widespread language during the time period of the New Assyrian Empire, and the official language of the Persian Empire. As the empire began to spread and conquer surrounding areas of land, the language began to spread as well. Ultimately, language is a necessity. While its origins are vague and indefinite, the spread and development of language can be accredited to trade, which enables the spread of ideas and culture, expansion of empires, which forces language conversion, and relation to religions, which made it a necessity to know the language in order to practice the religion. In the words of evolutionist Philip Lieberman, for with speech came a capacity for thought that had never existed before, and that has transformed the world.